Imagine a universe where everything, light and dark, joy and sorrow, creation and destruction, isn't in conflict, but part of the same rhythm. What if opposing forces weren't meant to fight each other, but to work together? Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most intriguing concepts of Hermetic philosophy, the law of polarity. Whether you're familiar with spiritual traditions or just exploring new ways of understanding yourself and the world, this principle offers a practical, thought-provoking perspective. Let's begin. According to the ancient Hermetic text, the Kybalion, everything in the universe has its pair of opposites. Hot and cold. Light and dark. Joy and sadness. But here's the catch, they're not separate entities. They are the same thing, just experienced at different degrees. This insight forms the foundation of the law of polarity, which states: everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. In simpler terms, love and hate, for example, are not entirely different emotions, they exist on the same emotional spectrum. Understanding this helps us recognize that our internal and external experiences are not fixed. They shift, evolve, and respond to how we navigate them. Let's apply this principle to real life. Think about how you perceive happiness. Could you even define it without knowing what sadness feels like? Probably not. Our experiences are shaped in contrast. Even cooking a meal reflects polarity. You take something raw and cold, apply heat, and transform it. That simple process is polarity in action, two opposing forces creating something new through interaction. The same happens in broader social systems. Political ideologies like conservatism and progressivism are often viewed as opponents. But when functioning in balance, they provide checks and direction, pushing society toward progress without total disruption. Polarity isn't about division. It's about relationship and transformation. Nowhere is polarity more present than in our emotional lives. Take love and fear, two powerful yet opposite forces. Love connects and expands, fear isolates and contracts. But both originate from the same energetic source. Learning to identify and navigate these emotional poles is a form of self-awareness. Let's say you're feeling fear. Recognizing it not as something to avoid, but as an emotional pole you can shift away from, gives you the power to move toward love. That's the essence of emotional transmutation. Similarly, hatred and passion may seem like extremes, but both are forms of intensity. One builds, the other destroys. What determines the outcome is how we direct that energy. Emotions are not static. They move, they change. Understanding the law of polarity means realizing that what you feel right now isn't fixed, it's a moment on a spectrum you can navigate. Every choice we make is rooted in polarity. Choosing to wake up early and meditate means giving up the comfort of extra sleep. Pursuing a meaningful goal may mean letting go of distractions. These small acts reflect how we constantly operate between opposites. There is rarely a single, right or wrong path. Instead, there are directions, poles, and you choose which way to lean. And in that awareness lies freedom. This principle doesn't just live in philosophy. It's embedded in the building blocks of nature. Let's take a look at the atom. Atoms, the basic unit of matter, are formed by two opposing charges, positive protons and negative electrons. Their interaction forms structure, energy, and stability. Without this, likewise, in electromagnetic waves, which are the basis of everything from radio signals to light and Wi-Fi, two opposing fields, electric and magnetic, oscillate to create motion. That's how energy travels. That's how you're even able to watch this video right now. So the law of polarity isn't abstract or metaphysical. It's deeply physical. It governs the very signals that power your devices, and your life. Now, polarity alone doesn't move energy. That's where the law of vibration comes in. If polarity shows us the two extremes of any condition, hot and cold, fear and love, vibration is the movement between them. You can't transform cold into hot instantly, but by gradually increasing vibration, or energy, the temperature rises. The same is true emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The law of vibration, another Hermetic principle, tells us that nothing rests, everything is in constant motion. Even things that appear still are vibrating at some level. Now combine this with the law of polarity. You'll see that the two extremes of any experience are not fixed endpoints but points on a spectrum, and vibration is the mechanism that allows movement along that spectrum. Take temperature as an example. Hot and cold are not two separate entities, they're degrees of the same thing. By adding or removing heat, that is, changing the vibration, you move from one end to the other. The same concept applies to your mental and emotional states. Let's say you're experiencing fear. According to the law of polarity, fear is simply the opposite pole of love. You don't need to eliminate fear, you need to shift the frequency of your emotional vibration. How? Start by becoming aware of the fear without judgment. Shift your thoughts, focus on something or someone you deeply appreciate. Engage in an act of kindness or self-care, however small. These actions raise your emotional frequency, gradually moving you from fear toward love on the same spectrum. This isn't abstract theory. It's a practical process of emotional regulation rooted in awareness and intentionality. The law of polarity can also help reframe challenges. Often, when we're stuck in a problem, we only see one side of it. But polarity reminds us there's always another side. For example, if you're experiencing a setback at work, the opposite pole might be growth or opportunity. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What could this lead to that I'm not seeing yet? Just acknowledging that an opposite exists creates mental flexibility, which is essential for resilience and creative problem solving. Think about your personal relationships. Conflicts often arise when we lock into one side of a polarity, being right, feeling misunderstood, needing control. But polarity tells us the other side always exists. Where there's misunderstanding, there's also potential for clarity. Where there's control, there's the possibility of trust. Where there's anger, there's often unexpressed vulnerability. Instead of reacting to the surface emotion, pause and look for its complementary pole. Doing so opens the door for more conscious, compassionate communication. Modern science also recognizes the importance of energy movement between polarities. For example, alternating current, AC, in electricity flows between positive and negative charges, powering everything from your phone to entire cities. Electromagnetic waves, which carry Wi-Fi and radio signals, rely on alternating poles of electric and magnetic fields working in harmony. Everything we rely on in modern life operates using the same principles Hermeticism described thousands of years ago: duality and vibration in action. Here's a simple exercise you can try. 1. Identify the emotional or mental state you're currently in, e.g., anxiety, frustration, joy, clarity. 2. Ask, what's the opposite pole of this state? 3. Breathe deeply for 2 to 3 minutes, focusing on what the other pole would feel like. 4. Visualize a situation where you embody that opposite state, see yourself acting, speaking, and moving from that vibration. 5. Take one small action in that direction. You'll notice that this doesn't eliminate your current emotion. Instead, it gives you access to choice, the power to shift, not by denying your experience, but by using its polarity to your advantage. A deeper insight in Hermeticism is that we are not the polarity, we are the awareness behind it. This is what gives us power over our state of being. You are not just someone who feels angry or peaceful. You are the consciousness capable of witnessing anger and peace, and choosing where to align. By practicing this form of self-awareness, you go from reacting to life to responding with intention. That's the beginning of inner mastery. Polarity reveals that opposites are part of a spectrum, not enemies. The law of vibration allows us to move along that spectrum. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we can shift our state by becoming aware of where we are and choosing where we want to go. The universe, technology, and nature all reflect this truth. balance and transformation happen through the interaction of opposites. Living with this awareness doesn't mean avoiding pain or forcing positivity. It means acknowledging that you are never stuck, you always have access to movement, growth, and transformation. In a world where people often feel powerless, the law of polarity offers a different perspective. You can choose your alignment. So next time you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or in conflict, remember, the opposite pole is already there. All you have to do is start moving toward it. Compass, thanks for joining this journey into Hermetic wisdom. If this video brought new clarity or gave you something to think about, share it with someone who might benefit too. And as always, stay grounded, and stay curious. Until next time.